This is time for all of us to step up. You know, the climate deniers are really in some ways similar to all of those almost 400 law enforcement officers in Uvalde, Texas.
Yes, that's Al Gore rearing his voluminous head to comment on climate policy and politics, because it's the middle of July and all across the northern hemisphere temperatures are rising because it's summer. But no, it's a climate emergency, we're told. But he didn't just make that despicable comparison that we thought we heard him make, did he? Surely we've edited that and presented it out of context. Let's watch the whole thing.
Is that if we want more pro-climate policies, we need to elect more pro-climate senators and representatives in both parties. And we've got an election coming up, and this is time for all of us to step up. You know, the climate deniers are really in some ways similar to all of those almost 400 law enforcement officers in Uvalde, Texas, who were waiting outside an unlocked door while the children were being massacred. They heard the screams, they heard the gunshots, and nobody stepped forward. And God bless those families who've suffered so much. And law enforcement officials tell us that's not typical of what law enforcement usually does. And confronted with this global emergency, what we're doing with our inaction and failing to walk through the door and stop the killing is not typical of what we are capable of as human beings. We do have the solutions, and I think these extreme events that are getting steadily worse and more severe are really beginning to change minds. We have to have unity as a nation to come together and stop making this a political football. It shouldn't be a partisan issue.
Yeah, he really said that. You know, it's disgusting enough to call your political opponents deniers. You know, that's not an accidental term. That's meant to evoke Holocaust deniers. You know, Nazis, because it's really rare and original to call your political opponent a Nazi. But apparently that's not enough for the former vice president, who, by the way, when last we heard from him, he was accused of demanding a private masseuse to deliver a little something extra by releasing his chakra, allegedly. It's not bad enough that you're not signing on to the Green New Deal and buying into economic policies that'll crush this country more than the last 2 years of COVID. Hell, it'll make the last 2 years of COVID lockdowns look like Reagan's economic boom of the 80s. No. If you stand in the way of these policies, you're worse than a Nazi. You're complicit in the massacre of little children at a school shooting. I'm sure the parents of those precious little 9-year-olds appreciate this Democrat gasbag has-been using the deaths of their children to promote policies that, not so coincidentally, make Al Gore millions and millions of dollars. Hey, Al, in the immortal words of Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
How dare you?